The next morning, Emmanuel arrived earlier than usual, dressed in his usual blue coveralls. He polished the lobby floors until they shone like mirrors, unaware that on the top floor a plan was unfolding. Arthur Blake had gathered his executive team for a critical investors' conference. Delegates from France, China, and the United Arab Emirates. The stakes were high. Zenotech was seeking a multi-million-dollar expansion deal, and communication had always been a challenge. When Emmanuel walked by with his mop, Arthur called him in. "Emmanuel," he said with a calm smile, "I need you to stay for this meeting. Just observe, if you don't mind." Confused, the janitor nodded and quietly stood near the back of the glass-walled boardroom. The meeting began smoothly, until it didn't. The French investor, Monsieur Lafitte, spoke rapidly, his accent thick and his tone impatient. The company's translator stumbled, missing key points. Tension filled the room. Then Emmanuel stepped forward. His voice was gentle but confident, as he translated Lafitte's words flawlessly into English. Even capturing the nuances of tone, everyone turned to stare. Moments later, the Chinese delegate joined in, switching to Mandarin to discuss logistics. The translator froze again. Before Arthur could react, Emmanuel spoke up once more. His pronunciation smooth, his phrases natural. Silence, then all. Even the stern Emirati investor leaned forward and said in Arabic, "Who is this man?" Arthur smiled slightly. "Our janitor." The room erupted with laughter, until they realized he wasn't joking. When the meeting ended, the investors crowded around Emmanuel, shaking his hand, praising his fluency, his calm. One even said, "If this is the kind of talent working under you, Mr. Blake, we can trust your leadership." Arthur watched, half in disbelief, half in admiration. The man everyone ignored had just saved a deal worth millions. As the room emptied, Arthur approached him quietly. "Emmanuel," he said, "I think it's time we talked about your future here." Emmanuel smiled faintly, eyes steady. "Whatever you think is right, sir." But in that moment, Arthur realized something. He wasn't the one doing Emmanuel a favor. Emmanuel was the gift his company didn't know it needed. What could Arthur have planned for Emmanuel? The following evening, Arthur invited Emmanuel to dinner at the Azure Flame, one of Cape Town's most exclusive restaurants. Emmanuel hesitated at first. He wasn't used to luxury anymore. But Arthur insisted. "No uniforms tonight," he said kindly. "Just come as yourself." When Emmanuel arrived, he wore a crisp white shirt and an old wristwatch, whose gold had faded with time. Arthur stood to greet him. "You clean up well," he joked lightly. Emmanuel smiled. "It's been a while since I've eaten somewhere like this." As they sat, Arthur leaned in. "Tell me the truth, Emmanuel. You were more than just a trader, weren't you?" For a moment, Emmanuel was silent. Then he spoke softly. "I was born in Ghana. My father was a miner. I grew up watching men dig gold from the earth with bare hands. When I was 23, I began trading the same metal. Only I wanted to do it honestly. I built a network, traveled between Ghana, Mali, Dubai, and China. Business was good, I mean too good." He looked down at his glass, his reflection shimmering. "Then I trusted the wrong partner. He sold me out to a cartel. They seized everything, my mines, my accounts, even my home. I fled here with nothing but my passport and my name." Arthur listened in stunned silence. The story sounded unreal, yet Emmanuel's tone carried no bitterness, no self-pity. "I took the janitor job because I needed peace," Emmanuel continued. "After seeing greed destroy everything I built, I just wanted to live quietly, do honest work, and watch people chase dreams without losing themselves." Arthur's throat tightened. "You could have gone anywhere, started over." Emmanuel smiled faintly. "Sometimes starting over means starting small, sir." They sat in silence for a while, the ocean breeze drifting through the windows. Then Arthur said, "I'm not letting you mop floors anymore. You're wasted there." Emmanuel chuckled. "I don't mind the mop." Arthur leaned forward. "Well, I do. Tomorrow, I'm calling a company-wide meeting. It's time everyone knows who you really are." For the first time in years, Emmanuel felt something stir inside him, hope. And what do Arthur mean by who you really are? Let's find out together. The next morning, the Zenotech building buzzed with rumors. Every employee, from the interns to the senior engineers, had received the same mysterious message. Mandatory staff meeting at 9 a.m. sharp, Mr. Blake. By the time the elevator doors opened on the 20th floor, the conference hall was already filled. The hum of curiosity hung in the air. At the center of the room stood Arthur Blake, dressed impeccably, his eyes alive with purpose. Beside him stood Emmanuel Aussue, still humble, still calm, but today without his mop or uniform. He wore a simple navy suit that fit him perfectly, his posture tall and proud. Arthur stepped forward, his voice firm yet warm. "Every day we walk past people we think we know. We assume their stories based on what they wear, what job they hold, or how they speak. But sometimes," he looked toward Emmanuel, "greatness hides where we least expect it." The room fell silent. "This man," Arthur continued, "has worked here quietly for 2 years, as a janitor. But what most of you don't know is that Emmanuel speaks 9 languages fluently and once led an international gold trading firm. Yesterday, he helped us secure one of the biggest deals in Zenotech's history." The whole room clapped in victory. If a man with nothing is given a second chance, what's the first thing he should rebuild? His past, his future, or himself? If stories like this inspire you, subscribe so you don't miss stories like this only on Yes, It Happened. For more true-to-life tales of strength, courage, and the hidden power within ordinary people, keep the conversation going.